You are watching Travel World Online.
Well, thanks very much, first of all, for having me, Anil. Good to have you on board. The future of cruising, I think, in India looks very bright. We're all aware that India has the second largest or third largest coastline in the world. It's a large coastline. Destinations and ports very far apart from each other. Even if everyone thinks that it just takes a few minutes to get from one place to the other place, it's fairly a distance. And I was also previously telling, since we started in 2021 in September, we have sailed quite a distance. Even sailing out of Mumbai, Goa, Cochin, Lakshadweep, over this period of time we have sailed all the way to the moon and back almost. So we cover quite some distance. Destinations, as you're aware, on the west coast is very simple. There's Goa, there's Cochin, there's Mumbai. To me today, Mumbai is for sure one of the major home ports, would be equivalent like Miami. Then Goa is definitely one of the preferred destinations for most of our Indian guests, pan-India. And Cochin to me is operationally the best port. Reasons for that is very simple. The dock wall for the ship to go alongside is not a cargo ship dock wall, which means it's lower to the waterline, and the what we call gangway, the entry point to the ship, can be used from the lower decks versus climbing gangways. But having said that, I think Mumbai's new international terminal will be very, very good. Obviously, due to the pandemic, it's fairly delayed, but I'm very hopeful that the Mumbai terminal will be up to par with many international ports. One of the promises we have under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister that waterways, maritime, river sector is going to be included in the Vision 2020-30. There's definitely a high interest, a lot of involvement from the government, as you most probably know from the stage back last 5 years with the Honorable Shipping Minister Nitin Gadkari, all the way up to now to the Shipping Minister Sri Sonowal. A lot of effort, a lot of attention giving, a lot of force to enhance the experience for guests arriving at the port. It's not as easy as it seems. There's about 4 different government agencies involved. All the ports we are visiting are government ports. Then you have CISF, which is another agency. Then you have immigration, another agency. Then you have BHO, one more agency. And then you also have to deal with customs. Because it's so new, they're all individually very strong and very opinionated. We have to make sure that we have continuity. The more of the same people are involved in it, the easier it gets. But of course, these are all elected positions, so they change every other 2 or other 4 years, which makes it a little bit more challenging. However, there was a tremendous amount of improvement over the last 5 years, and moving forward, I think the future for India in terms of cruising is bright. There's an opportunity to have a cruise hub, and the reasons for that is very simple. It's an all year round destination. The proximity to various other places such as Maldives, Middle East is very favorable. Weather, very favorable. Yes, there's a monsoon, but that's how we move from one coast to the other coast. And as you know, for ourselves, we are including Middle East, Dubai next year. But overall, I think it's easy to be critical of the government, but I think there's a tremendous amount of effort put in, especially from the board chairmen, to make this a successful future.
What difference you find in 2019 to this date when it comes to facility, routes, infrastructure?
Infrastructure, you see, it's not that simple. It's not like just I'm paving an asphalt on the street. I mean, these are all old boards. You can't just change the height of the board walls, etc. But I can tell you the effort of access to the board got much better, or especially once you reach the board to go inside the board, still you have to think India is an old country. Getting to a board, it will take some time. I mean, Rome was not built overnight. If you remember 15-20 years back, it was not that easy to fly from one place to another place. It took some time to have roads built up to the port, infrastructure, etc., etc. But definitely, I think with the next 2-3 years, it will be way, way, way different than what we see now or what we had 3 years ago.
Great, nice. I think that you was talking of a lot of agencies are involved when we talk of cruising within India, right? On Indian shores. Do you think you need to have a common board with all agencies on one single board so it becomes easy to take decisions?
You see, we have one organization representing the sector which is called INCLA. So INCLA has been very, very vocally involved with the government together. I can tell you from my side, I have been involved in every single matter which is in regards to cruising. I have been welcomed. Our opinion was very welcomed and shared with all government agencies, but in the end of the day, because there's so many sectors, it's not that easy to put together. So we have created a task force, and we have been very involved in it. But like I say, it's not something which is very speedy. It takes some time, and I think the task force, together with the shipping ministry, DG Shipping, the Honorable Minister of Tourism, you got to understand a little bit the structure of India. You got the central government, but it's still up to the state government to make certain things happen. Yes, center says we go, but it's still a lot up to the state, how fast and how far we go. So we'll get through that. It will be fine in the near future.
Any other challenges you find growing this business?
Yes, we need all the other cruise companies to come here too, because us as an individual cruise company, we are a little bit a small, what do you want to say, industry all by ourselves. So we do need all the other big players to come here too, because obviously this is a costly venture for the government as much as for us. So we do want all the other international cruise companies coming here and calling India as their home port.
Now, when it comes to what is the response from the market, and what's
So that's a good question. So if you go back to 2018 pre-pandemic or now post-pandemic, you had about 200 guests, 200,000 guests, 2 lakh guests going on cruises a year from India, which is very little. If you think the potential of cruises out of India, let's say 7-8%, which is still about 100 million people, is 3 times the size of the total cruise market in the world. So potentially, India alone of potential cruises could fill the entire global cruise market 3 times. Having said that, with Cordelia starting, we have doubled the cruise market in 1 year. So we have alone ourselves, if I go back to 2021 when we started during the pandemic, we have had 500,000 guests sailing on our beautiful ship. So for the financial year 22-23, we had 240,000 guests on board. And I can happily say we had a lot of happy families enjoying our cruise product.
what other destination you are planning within India or the whole show?
So that's a good question. So there are some destinations. while we're educating Indian guests to go on cruises, especially when it comes to the Mumbai side, there are ports like Diu, Porbandar. There's a couple of more places within the Lakshadweep Islands. There are New Mangalore, there is Goa, there's Cochin. I think you will see with more cruise companies coming that there is an opportunity for the private sector to get involved. I think with their development could be a little bit faster. I wouldn't be surprised to see at least another 3-4 ports close to Mumbai being available, but I think also on the east coast you will see Kolkata is going to put force in. Vizag is going to open a brand new cruise terminal over the next 6-7 months. There are a couple of great destinations which we have to work on. I think Pondicherry has a potential. Port Blair will come into the picture once we have educated Indian cruisers to go a little bit longer cruise trips. I think Port Blair will be a great destination. So there are great opportunities, but you will only see within the next 2-3 years extra new destination coming up. In my opinion, India has the potential to be one of the largest cruise hubs in the world.
No doubt about this. India has a big upper middle class population.
And will get bigger.
Yes. And 2-tier, 3-tier cities, do you think there's high time to change their mindset? What they think is cruising is for just elite class?
Well, good question. It is funny, I have to share with you. Even in cruise markets where cruising is a regular vacation, there's still the myth that cruising is only for the rich and famous. To me, as you hear me saying all the time, cruises is an affordable luxury, waking up every day in a different place. Cruises absolutely today one of the most affordable vacations. If you look at the product value from entertainment, eating, food, etc., etc., it will take time for people to understand that cruising is not just for the rich and famous, it's for everyone. Rich and famous, they go on their yachts, and cruising is just compatible to any land-based resorts in terms of pricing and cost. It's just we are able to do so many more things. We have our own entertainment, the shopping, everything in one place, and waking up every day in a different place. So between the travel trade, between you guys, the travel writers and us, we have a tremendous amount of work ahead of us to really educate the Indian travelers to understand this segment of cruising. And then the next step is where there's a tremendous opportunity, which I always say, while you also continue to grow your land-based travel, like you look at the Palace at Wheels, these are absolutely great combined packages. Can you imagine now not only the domestic but the inbound potential of people going to the Taj Mahal, taking Bailom Palace, coming down to Mumbai, going on a cruise. This is something which is tremendously, but this is the big picture. People don't see that yet, so we have to make them aware of their actual potential they have.
That's what my next question is. I just wanted to ask you, this is a destination, on a floating destination we can call a cruise, yes, right? Now what's happening is you're selling just packages to a particular destination, go and come back. Do you see in near future, I'm taking a cruise from Mumbai, getting down at Kochi, someone else is catching up from Kochi and coming back to Goa while enjoying cruise and do everything like that?
Yes and no. See, for me to enjoy a cruise, because what the cruise has to offer, I think you have to be on a cruise at least 3 days. I'm not a big fan of a 1-2 night cruise. That is very suitable for a specific segment, which is very big in India, which is the MICE and the corporate market. I think it's great for them. But to me, if you want to enjoy a cruise or have an experience a cruise, you got to go at least for 3 days, because we have so many things to offer. It's like going to Paris. You cannot go and visit Paris for a day or two. If you want to enjoy and experience Paris, you have to be there for 3-4 days. The same is on a cruise. to me, yes, there is an opportunity, but I'm not a big friend of getting on and off the ship that way. I rather have one ship based in Mumbai, one ship based in Goa, one ship based in Cochin, one ship based in Chennai, and offer sailings from all these various places. Is there an opportunity? Yes, there is. There's an opportunity to go fly to Phuket, stay there for 3 days, then go on the ship in Phuket, go to Port Blair. From Port Blair you sail all the way to Chennai, for example, or vice versa. That will be all there in the near future. But I think if I look at right now where India is going, I think India becomes a little bit like Europe. In the old days in Europe, people used to go on a 14 days vacation, while today they rather go 10 times on a 3 days vacation. The lifestyle has changed a little bit. So I will say, if I look at the younger generation here in India, they also opt far for more. We rather go 10 times for a 3 day vacation than going 2 or 3 times on a 7 or 8 days vacation. So I think there will be a tremendous shift again on how often you go on vacation versus how long you go on vacation. So that will have definitely an impact. But for me, cruising, it requires at least 3 days to experience a cruise.
Sri Lanka, you was talking about, can we see Sri Lankans coming to India?
Oh, I'm sure eventually. I mean, they're consistently asking if people could come on board in Hambantota and sail with us. I think yes. So I'm looking into an itinerary, perhaps with the next ship, sailing out of Cochin, going to Colombo, and stay overnight in Colombo, sail down to Male, then we go up to the Lakshadweep Islands back to Cochin, which is a 5-nighter. So potentially you could have people getting on board from Cochin doing a 5-nighter and going on board in Colombo and doing a 5-nighter, starting and finishing in Colombo. So that definitely will be the future, and there's a great possibility for that.
What we can expect by 2025 at Cordelia? How many vessels?
I get this question was everybody wants to know. Getting a vessel is easy. There's not
sustainable.
Sustainability is not difficult either. But then again, like I said, we're in an infant stage when it comes to port operations. Right now, all our ports in India only can handle and have space for 2 vessels. Now, if we want to invite everybody else to also come, it's going to get really tight. So we got to make sure we have a clear understanding between all the cruise company, who is developing which segment, which market, because everybody is different. As you know, we are the Indian cruise company. Of course, other cruise companies which come here, they have their own structure, their own offerings. But ships are much bigger now. This is one of the last smaller vessels available. Port infrastructure has to change. And today in Goa, Mumbai, Cochin, there's only space for 2 cruise ships. But we need at least 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ships to come here. So we need to grow at the same speed as ships are growing and coming to India. So it will take a little bit time. So for me to bring the 2nd ship, the 3rd ship, is not about getting the amount of guests on. It's about from where are you going. So if we would have the monsoon season, there's no way we can have sailing 2 ships out of Chennai, because destinations we only could do the same thing. There's no need for 2 ships doing the same thing. So that's why we're also developing Dubai from next year.
Do you think private investment in the port sector?
Oh, absolutely, it will come. But again, understand that all the major ports are in the government hand. It's not that easy. There's a huge amount of land. I know there's a huge interest.
On PPP mode, yes, why not?
There it is. There's a huge interest. But then again, the bureaucracy in India, and because they have never done it, it's a long process. It's not like they say, okay, let's get together, we're doing it tomorrow. It will take time, but it will happen.
It's a policy decision.
It will happen.
Great. Now, your target for this year, So what is the occupancy as of now on sailing, when you are sailing to different itineraries, and what all itineraries you have, I would like to have from you as of now, what you are running and what we are planning by the end of this year.
So this financial, anyway, our itineraries are planned 18 months in advance. So I already know where we're going in 18 months.
Yeah.
So our financial year from April 23 to 24, we will carry approximately 260,000 guests with an average load factor of 103, 104%. And we will be, this year, it's purely India, so we are doing, during the non-monsoon season, home porting from Mumbai. Our favorite destination, Lakshadweep, which has been the most popular destination, is going Mumbai, Goa, Cochin, Lakshadweep, Mumbai. And then, of course, in the monsoon, as we prepared last year, it was Sri Lanka. Didn't happen, but this year we're doing it. So we are sailing from Chennai the entire monsoon season. Weekend cruises, non-visa, no passport, Chennai, Haisi, Chennai. And then during the week, 5-nighter to visit the 3 main destinations in Sri Lanka. So far so good. You've seen yourself, the port itself, the infrastructure is good. Weather is okay, is also good. So I'm very hopeful that this is going to be super successful, but it will take time.
Any
Like
message
everything.
you would like to give to our viewers?
Go and enjoy a cruise. I think it's an incredible value for money, and as I mentioned earlier, cruising is affordable luxury, waking every day up in a different place without having to check in and check out and experience your own country, your own hospitality. And I think Cordelia is for sure the best way to start experience how cruising is, with home away from home, the Indian way, and India definitely deserves their own cruise company.
Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
You are watching Travel World Online.
India's Union Minister for Port, Shipping and Waterways, Sarbanand Sonowal on Monday flagged off India's first international cruise from Chennai port to Sri Lanka. Named Cordelia Empress, it has marked a new chapter in the growth of cruise tourism in India. On the occasion, President and CAO, Cordelia Cruises, Jurgen Bailom said,
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very historic day today. I know it was just a year ago when we came first time to Chennai, and we are very happy and lucky to call this beautiful port of Chennai our second home. I know we don't want to, yes, please go ahead. You are absolutely allowed to go ahead. The pandemic stopped all the cruise business in India, and I'm always proud to say that when there was no tourism happening in India, we were the first ones to start in September 2021 under the leadership of our Honorable Minister, which was so supportive of getting us back on our feet and support tourism in India. More importantly, the last 2 years, because of the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, which has led this country so beautifully through this situation, but even more through the geopolitical situation, which we, I think, in India, done an incredible job. So congratulations on our central government for that. They've been incredible. Almost 3 years it has been. We had 400,000 super happy guests on board the beautiful Cordelia Empress. And we are extremely proud to be the first Indian cruise company and cruise liner. Please don't misunderstand. We are not an international cruise liner. We are Indian's cruise liner, not international. We are Indian by heart and in every way. And we're going to take approximately 50,000 Indian guests to Sri Lanka over the next period of 4 months.
And we are really proud that for the first time, that to an Indian company is starting an international cruise tourism to the Sri Lanka, which is one of the favorite tourist places for the entire country, not only for the South India, for the entire country. It's very close to our country. It has many beautiful attractions in the country. So, from the state government, I'm sure that we will extend all support for this cruise tourism for further development. I feel that there is a lot of potential from Chennai. In fact, even tours we can think of arranging from here.
It is a day of great significance for Chennai Port, which has been hosting international cruises, but they were few and far between. We used to have around 6 to 7 calls every year, and as indicated here, our Honorable Prime Minister decided that cruise tourism, we should showcase the potential of this country in terms of heritage, in terms of natural beauty, in terms of antiquity, and with that, he decided to give impetus to cruise tourism in India. We are witnessing this historic event when the first regular international cruise is starting from this port, which is the third oldest major port in this country. I'm sure that not only for Chennai Port, but for the entire coastline of this country, many such wonderful landmarks are awaiting.
So I really, as per his commitment, when we had one-to-one discussion, then Mr. Jurgen promised, of course, we are ready to operate it like this. So today, he made his word into a reality of happening. I'm really thankful to Jurgenji, with your team. You have taken all kind of initiative, and in this particular endeavor, whatever important initiative also taken by Chennai Port Authority under the leadership of Palwalji, and also the special support extended by the Department of Tourism, Government of Tamil Nadu, it is always praiseworthy. It is a teamwork, as per our Prime Minister's vision. We have all been working together in the spirit of Team India, and that spirit has helped us a lot to make a holistic working relationship to carry our agenda forwards. India is such a beautiful nation with its culture and heritage, beautiful location, landscape, geography, and also spiritual importance. So, as per the available resources, if we could develop our infrastructure, and if we could develop the environment of drawing the attention of the domestic as well as international tourists, then definitely this kind of exercise will always pay a dividend for all of us. I believe with this particular objective, in the near future we will have to proceed. In India, as you all know, we have started International Cruise Terminal, Mumbai, developing this particular terminal to an international standard. We are spending more than 500 crores.
You are watching Travel World Online.